Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Is It Kino Special Kino Brothers Edition. I am your host, MUMKEY Jones.
My name is Zerich, and I'm here to say I like Coen
Liking
Brothers
traps isn't gay.
movies. Also,
It's,
that
it's true. Erich, what Kino Brothers movie did we watch for this episode?
we watched a little film by the name of Miller's Crossing.
Now, is Miller the name of a character? Who's Miller?
No, Miller's Crossing is an environment in the movie. It's where they go to kill people.
Oh my God. Okay, Erich, give me your hot take, because last time we did not describe the plot of the movie, and it was a bit confusing. So just as briefly as you can, please describe the plot of this entirely complex film.
All right, it's actually it's less complex than it seems. Like once you kind of get the impression of what's going on.
It's too much. If you don't read the Wikipedia summary before you see the movie, you're gonna have a rough time.
Nah, they talk about a bunch of names, but not a lot of it's important. All right, so this movie is about a man named Tom Reagan, played by Gabriel Byrne, who is a kind of I don't know what his real job is. He's basically he's the right hand man of a gangster named Leo O'Bannon, and basically
You've already lost me with all these names.
Yeah. So that's two names. Get ready for another three.
Fuck.
So Leo is in a relationship with a woman named Verna Birnbaum, and she has also a relationship with another gangster who's the enemy of Leo, whose name is Johnny Casper, played by John Polidor. And both of these like big players are essentially in a war with one another, and Tom is switching between sides basically as much as the situation is best for him. So one of the big characters who everybody talks about is Bernie Birnbaum, who is this kind of snitch character who's also in it for himself, and it's basically just Tom ping-ponging between these two gangsters. And this is a very basic gangster movie type setup, and the names aren't really important. All you really need to know is that he's going between these two big profile characters. So that's about it, really.
So with this film, were the Coen brothers were they hearkening back to a simpler time of, gangster noir films, and they were trying to encapsulate that genre with this movie?
Yeah, and this is it is kind of a black comedy a lot. I think there are a lot of funny parts of it, and it's basically just a take on that. This is a genre that's been done to death in Hollywood. I actually haven't seen a lot of these kinds of movies, so just seeing the kind of very bare bones version of it in this movie, I think was very rewarding, because it's kind of those neo-noir gangster movies to a T. So you don't need much more than that, and it does a great job of it.
I sense that you are feeling pretty positive about this film here, Rich. I actually have a slightly different take.
Really? Okay. I will say that I loved it. I really got into the characters.
Wow.
I really enjoyed just the machinations of each one. It took me a while. It took me probably about a half an hour to 45 minutes to figure out who the fuck everyone was, because they're basically just throwing names at you left and right. And if you're not really able to pick up on the who's who of everything, it can kind of get confusing pretty quickly. But as soon as you know that there are two main gangsters, and basically Tom is ping-ponging between the two, there's only really 5 characters in this movie,
right,
that are important. So
what I will say is that I think this movie is dedicated to the gangster noir genre to a detriment. I think it's going for an older style of filmmaking, and I don't think it's any surprise to anybody to say that older movies don't hold up as well. Not because they're bad, but because modern filmmaking has
advanced so much.
It's advanced for our ADHD, hyperactive, short attention span minds. So if a movie takes a full hour to set everything up, it's really hard for me to get into it. So let me paint a little comparison for you, and I'll see. It's not going to be a perfect comparison, but I think it's fair. One of my favorite movies is Martin Scorsese's The Departed. And what is so great about The Departed is that in the first 10 minutes, they set up everything. It's just a 10-minute montage setting up these two characters and exactly what's going to happen. Then it has, bam, title sequence, and then the rest of the movie is playing with this great setup. This movie, it's 2 hours long. There's about an hour of setup, and then once they go to Miller's Crossing, that's when the movie gets really, really good for me. And the last hour He's just great. It's lots of fun watching all the ping ponging back and forth, all the backstabbing and gangster mob stuff. But I feel like the setup for it just took way too long. It was very repetitive. There are probably 45 different scenes of the main guy telling his boss, "Hey, we should kill this guy." And the boss says, "No, I don't think we should." And then he says, "Oh, I think we should kill this guy." "Oh, no, I don't think we should." I swear to God, that scene happens 45 times. There's a lot of repetition that can be cut out, a lot of character stuff that, sure, maybe it's good for the character, but you could shorten it a lot. I'd say if we made that first hour, cut it down to 30 minutes, this movie would be way better for me.
No, you see, like I just disagree with that because I feel like that is the setup that you kind of need to understand why everything past that. So you're right; it is a lot of Gabriel Byrne's character reiterating a lot of the same things to the mob bosses. But I think that's just going to show that the mob bosses are essentially forces that are really easily pushed into different directions by a dame like Verna, and like very very simple facts will move them when things like Tom and his advisement, which is the smart thing to do, often doesn't. So like he's basically Sisyphus trying to push the boulder up the hill, and it's
Right.
never going to happen. But he's going to try anyway until the very end. But yeah, I just think that that's set up well enough, and there is enough going on so that I'm a little bit confused, but not quite confused enough so that I'm like giving up on the movie and saying I'm never going to understand what's going on.
I'll say in the first half of the movie, some of those scenes were one black and white filter away from putting me to sleep.
Okay.
But like I said, once they go to Miller's Crossing the first time, the movie really picks up and
Oh, yeah.
becomes a bit of a fun ride.
So I think the standout performance in this movie is John Turturro. He plays Bernie, and basically he vacillates between being the sneevy guy you just want to punch in the face because he's so self-satisfied, and when he's taken to Miller's Crossing or when his life is threatened, he just that all evaporates and he just becomes this like crying, whimpering. I don't know what he
But the
keeps
question
saying, but it's
is,
hilarious.
the question that the movie presents with this character is he actually a sniveling crybaby in that moment, or is he playing it up to save his own
He
life?
is
'Cause
entirely playing it up.
Yeah.
That is his basically like survival instinct kicking in and saying,
Yeah.
"Okay, it's time to try to get them on my side as much as possible." And then as soon as the danger is over, he goes right back to that needling, wheedling son of a bitch character, and like it's just great. This is like a standout performance for him. I also thought John Polidor, who's that like the real gravelly sounding guy.
Yeah, it's the best Danny DeVito role that Danny DeVito never
Exactly.
played, right?
Exactly.
That's
He is
him.
great in this. Like I thought he was just a very throwaway character in this first scene here, but he's throughout the entire movie. So I just loved seeing
Yeah,
him.
that guy's having a lot of fun being a gangster mob boss,
Yeah.
and bossing around the mayor and all that stuff. Like
One of
stuff
my
like that, I really liked.
one of my absolute favorite parts of this movie is just constantly bars are being raided by the police. And so Tom, like this happens 3 or 4 times in the movie, and Tom, the main character, just basically like walks by as all these police are shaking out this place, and like guns are going off. It is just such a well staged joke scene. It just made me laugh every single time.
Yeah, they do have lots of good humor. So it's the idea that Tom he's just like in it with the police at that point. Like the police are with whoever the stronger mob boss is, and he just happens to be with the stronger mob boss every time.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like whichever boss is in control, the police work with, and there are many scenes of just the boss sitting behind a desk while the police chief, and so I think they're actually political bosses or mayors, basically, even though they are like in charge of crime and everything, which kind of confused me. I thought they were just straight up mob bosses, but they're actually political bosses. But yeah, so like basically the police are completely behind whoever's in control at one point, and they're basically constantly raiding the other bosses hideouts and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just the funniest possible thing.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
love it so
funny.
much.
I'd say it's funnier than the previous comedy film, Raising Arizona. So how do you
No,
like
yeah.
that? This gangster noir film is funnier than their straight out comedy film.
And I think they are playing up the black comedy in this movie. It is very much a winking version of that neo noir movie. These movies have been done to death so many times that they kind of can take the genre for what it is and just say, "Oh, this is funny how he constantly is switching sides and how he keeps advising people and nobody listens to him. I mean, it does have a good time with that setup, and that's really what got me into the movie. If it was a straight up and out neo noir movie and it didn't have those winks and those nudges, I'd probably be more like you, where I was just saying, it takes too long to do anything. There is some fun here, but yeah, but I ultimately end up saying I absolutely ended up loving this.
I guess I'm not familiar enough with the genre to know when they're winking and nudging at me, because to me it was kind of slow and yeah, pretty unenjoyable for the first hour.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say about this movie before we put it on our Kino brother ranking scale?
Ranking. Oh, I didn't think about ranking it. Okay. Yeah, I just really loved this one. After kind of, so the first one was a surprise to me. The second one was Raising Arizona. That one really let me down. This one, almost knowing nothing about it, was better for me, and I went into it not really knowing what to expect, and just really ended up digging it. So the movie begins with this hat blowing across the Miller's Crossing field, and that kind of sets you up for what's going to happen. And he loses that a couple times. You just go on a journey with this character.
It's just a movie about a guy who wants his hat back. God damn
it! Exactly. Those are the best stories. Every story like that just wins me over. It is beautifully shot. Once again, Barry Sonnenfeld coming back for cinematography for the Coens. I just think it's written really well. It's funny in the parts where it needs to be funny. All of the performances end up working, and there are standouts like John Turturro to really anchor it and to give you that, like, I think, award-worthy performance.
Steve Buscemi has a 40-second role where in the span of 20 seconds, he gives about 3 days worth of dialogue, and it's really
exactly.
Good. He is a motor mouth. Fucking fast.
Yeah, he is a motor mouth motherfucker, and he's a very small role. I wish he had more to do here, but yeah, he was on up and comer at the time, and he just proves that he is so great. I really enjoyed this one. I think this is one that I will be revisiting in the future.
Oh my god!
As I don't want to say a Coen brother favorite for now, but depending on what we see in the future, very possibly could be.
You're gonna go to Miller's Crossing and buy a Blu-ray of Miller's Crossing.
That's right. I wonder if this is on the Criterion Collection. I hope it is.
Alrighty, Rich, it's time for the moment of truth. We have set up our Kino Brothers ranking. In first place, it is currently Blood Simple. In second place, it's Raising Arizona. And now we have to squeeze this movie in. Are you going to put it at the top, in the middle, or at the bottom?
I am putting it at the tippy top of
our no!
It replaces Blood Simple. I really like Blood Simple, but I liked Miller's Crossing so much more. So for me, it's going to be Miller's Crossing, Blood Simple, and Raising Arizona. 1, 2, 3, bada bing, bada boom.
I'm gonna have to alter my list because I think I enjoyed Blood Simple more throughout the entire film, and that this one it did feel like a chore to sit through at times. So I'm gonna have to put it in the middle. It's better than Raising Arizona because I think I actually hate that movie. But
I hate Raising Arizona, but I'm definitely a negative on that. Yeah.
Miller's Crossing, you can squeeze right. You can cross into the middle, baby. Welcome. Hopefully, something beats Blood Simple because that movie isn't even like that great. But I liked it more than these two.
It's surprising for what it is, but like beyond that kind of like initial hit of Coen. Yeah.
So what is the next movie then? Maybe it'll knock everything out of the water.
The next movie is called Barton Fink. I have actually seen this one. It stars John Turturro, so I will be rewatching this one.
Cool. These days, all he does is like Transformers movies, right?
Oh my god, we can talk as we get to the end of this Coen brother retrospective of the rise and fall of John Turturro. Because holy shit, never has such a great actor had such shitty roles in shitty movies.
Yeah, I've never seen him in a good movie until now, so it'll be exciting to see him in his prime.
Oh shit! And Barton Fink is where we start getting Roger Deakins' partnership with the Coen brothers too.
Who's Roger Deakins?
He is this famous cinematographer who just composes the best shots, and his movies look so beautiful. Yeah.
Well, hey, I guess we'll see you for the next Coen Brothers installment, Barton Fink edition, and we'll see how it fits into our two altering rankings so far. Hey,
I'm really amazed. I'm really amazed at what like different movies these have all been. So like we've had one that we kind of disliked, one that we really liked, I guess, with Blood Simple, and one that we kind of disagree with This one,
Yeah,
no
they made
crossover.
their Blood Simple Dream movie after 2 years of begging for money, and then once they got a
Hmm.
name started, they said, "Okay, let's just try every fucking genre, just
Yeah,
to prove
exactly.
that we have some variety inside of us."
Hmm.
Well, hey, for Is It Kino? I have been Mumkey Jones,
And I'm Rich.
and we'll see you